Hey, John here again. So it's time to do the manifold. I've been putting this off for a better part of a year. Well, it's starting to go pippity pop. It's getting a little worse as the months go on. So I guess today is the day. It looks not as angry as I thought it was going to be. I just did a couple of years ago. Did that side because the EGR tube was messed up and I couldn't get it off without replacing the manifold. But now, like I said, it's making a noise. I don't really see where it's discolored or anything, but it is making noise, and it's predominantly from this side, so we're gonna have to take that off and get to it. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? What's that, 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts? I mean, just get the old crescent wrench out and crack them loose, right? And got the bolts down there on the exhaust, 3 of them. They should crack loose no problem on a 2002 and 2021. so this is the thing, and I forgot how much it costs, but they give you some new studs there for the exhaust, and a gasket which is normally crushed or ruined or broken or ripped. This one seemed to make it, but this one didn't. It's got a dent in it, but let's see what happens here. Let's get underneath. I think the best plan of attack is try to get them bolts off the exhaust underneath. If they come off and it looks like I can get to everything here, I'll just take the spark plugs out of the way. And like I said, beep, 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 no problem, right? We'll see what happens. So we're underneath, and wow, this looks like it's going to be really easy. Well, easy enough to get to the bolts. They don't look that angry neither. Everything else looks pretty spooky. This stuff is just like caked on rust. Probably just fall right off of there. Yeah, she ain't got much time left. Wow. Anyways, let me get up in here. I'm shocked that that's not little thin threaded bolts. So I'm going to heat that up first, just because from my experience, you try to crack that without heating that up, they're going to break. Alright, so just heating that up. Did take a couple times to heat it up. The nut came off, but even so, because the manifold comes with studs and everything, and new studs and bolts, you can just put your impact on there and just bust them off of there. It ain't really going to matter. Alright, a little bit of heat. 3 for 3. Alright, so the exhaust is loose. Let's go get them bolts off the manifold. If that was any indication of how things are going to go, this is going to be really easy. Easier than I expected anyways. Who would have thought plug wires were going to be the hard part of this job? They were just not coming out of there no matter what I did. Twist, twist, flex, get a pair of pliers, pry, didn't matter. They both two, I've only done 2 so far, and both of them broke. Jesus. I mean, they'll come off of here, no problem, right? Come off of there, no problem. Getting them out of there, not happening. Watch this one come right out. It's just, it's under here. You can't, twist a little bit. It won't break the seal. It's like stuck on there, man. Trust me. I tried as easy as I could, and then you get the old pliers out there and tried to, you know, do this number. And anyways, now I gotta get some plug wires. This one almost made it. The end made it. Wow, man, I can't believe that things are just so hard to get off of there. That's crazy. Well, that was interesting. So I decided to start in the back right corner because the firewall is kind of impeding. So you got to get it in there with a little socket. It's a 13, and I threw some heat on there. I threw a socket on there, and it was loosey goosey. So this thing has carbon on it. So that must be where it was leaking, but it wasn't tight at all. So I got lucky with that. I got to get new bolts anyway. But now the rest of these, I did notice they were pretty tight. So I'm going to throw heat on them. This is going real easy except for my damn spark plugs. So it's just spark plugs and a couple of bolts so far. So of course I ran out of gas, but it was no big deal. So I ran out of gas on the second bolt there, but I didn't even need to heat the rest of them up. Just use a breaker bar, and they came right off. Wow, that was extremely painless, aside from the spark plugs not coming off. So I just lifted the bolts, you know, the ones that plug into the exhaust pipe down there. Just lifted that whole thing out, and just I didn't have to remove this shaft or nothing. I didn't think it was going to clear this intermediate shaft for the steering, but it wiggled out of there pretty good. Just got to move this wire a little bit this way, and that's it. So I'll get some steel wool in there and clean that up. But I found where the problem was. I didn't know if this thing was cracked or whatever, but you can see here that it's got some blow-by in the gasket. This is a better gasket than what they gave me on mine. You can see all the blow-by there. And because that last bolt was loose, I say loose, it was not coming out, but I didn't have to wrench on it much. So I probably could have got away with just tightening it down, but I've already got it off, and there's no sense taking that back because this is the original manifold, so you might as well just replace it. And I'm probably going to go get a better gasket like this. Oh yeah, I forgot. You got to pick this O-ring out of there and get in there with a wire brush and clean that up. But this looks like a better one than comes with that cheap ass thing I bought. This, plus it's crushed anyways. This one here is it's all bent up, so it's all twisted. Might be able to get away with that, but this one looks like it's copper or something, better quality. So let me go and see if they have these two things, because I have to go there and get bolts anyway. So I just wired wheeled the surface on the head there, and I think I showed picking that gasket out and putting a new one in, then just getting a brush in there and cleaning that a little bit of rust out. Put the new gasket in there, that crushable gasket, and that's it, man. This is pretty much an easy manifold. I did buy new spark plug wires, $50. Holy crap! And I think I got the wrong ones. The guy said, do you have square coils or round coils? I said, I don't know. Let's go with round. They look square to me, so I might have to take them back. I think the difference is 10 inches and 12 inches as far as the length of the wire goes, but it does make a difference which coil you have. So anyways, we're here for the manifolds. Like I said, I cleaned all that up, and now what I'm going to do is I put the studs in into the new manifold, and what I'm going to do is sink this in there, and then we'll get, I bought a Velcro gasket. These are kind of like a hybrid between metal. These are all metal, the original ones, and this is just like a fiber, but this has metal and fiber, I think. Velcro. Anyways, they're a little bit better than this. Maybe not as good as the OEM ones, but then again, the OEM ones leak, so who knows. I can start the last two bolts, right? One bolt, two bolt, and then we can slip it on. As you can see, the hooks. So otherwise, you got to kind of hold it in place with grease or something. I don't know how you do that, but let's start the end bolts, and then we'll slip this. Like I said, it's labeled down and also manifold side, so we'll slip this right down in between there. So I was able to, you put the stud in first, between here and there. It's just enough room to get by this intermittent thing, and I plugged it into there. Obviously no bolts yet, but it's just loosey-goosey sitting there. And I think, like I said, goddamn light, man. Where is the light? Never no light. I think what I'm going to do is, just dropped one. I got these new bolts. Start the ones on the ends, like I said. And I'm going to have to put this camera down, but start the ones on the ends and then try to slip that gasket in between there. Right? So let me put this camera down. Like I said, I started that rear back furthest bolt and the most forward bolt. And these Velcro gasket makes it kind of easy for slipping them in there. So it's already in there. We already slipped one in there. And then now we can start the rest of the bolts and tighten everything up. Otherwise, you'd have to have two people, because this is kind of a chore holding this with one hand and starting a bolt with the other hand. I started up front here, got that bolt in, pretty much no problem. The back one was kind of problematic because it's so far away, and you have to kind of lift up a little bit. So you kind of basically got to lay up in the engine bay here, reach down with one hand, pull up, and the other hand in between the firewall and there's just enough room to get your hand in there to start that. So that's what I did. And now I'm going to thread the rest of these bolts and tighten that down first before I tighten that exhaust pipe up. Alright, so I just tighten those bolts down. I went to about 25, maybe 30 pounds. It was around 26, 27 on the wrench there. But the back one, now I can see why it was leaking. So it's hard to get a wrench in there, but I'm going to try it from underneath. Give a little bit more torque on that back bolt. It's tight, but I don't know if it's tight as the rest of them. So let's go underneath and do them 3 bolts down there. And, well, I was going to say start it up, but we got to get the plugs on there. The wires. Alright, so that worked out pretty good. Those 15s went on, sucked this pipe right in, and I could get to that one, the end manifold bolt, and you could see the carbon where that was loose. That's why it was ticking. That's why I thought I had a broken one, but anyways, you can get to it from here, but not by much. And I gave it all I can get with a 3/8. I'm sure it's around 25, 30 pounds. So I'm sure this thing's quiet, back to not ticking. But let's go put some plug wires on to see. Alright, so I got the bottom buttoned up, and I just put the spark plug wires back in, and everything looks good to go. There's no, let's go start this thing up. I can't believe I wasted 50 bucks on spark plug wires because you can't get them off. But let's start this thing up. You didn't hear it before. It was ticking pretty bad, especially under a load. You know, pippity pap, that kind of thing. So I'm assuming this thing is this cord. It's quiet now. Let's see here. No keys. Oh yeah, I can tell you right now. Even at idle, it was ticking pretty bad. Now I don't hear a damn thing. Oh, it's dark in there. I don't hear a damn thing now. Quiet. No tickety tick. Alright, that's a fix. Alright, so that's a fix. That's probably the easiest manifold I've ever done. This is a 20-something-year-old vehicle. And that was the original manifold, yeah, I just can't believe they came off that easy. There is quite a bit of room here, but there you have it, a GMC, 2002 GMC Sierra, driver's side manifold. Pretty simple. Even the passenger side, did that a year or two ago. So even the passenger side is pretty easy. The only thing I had to do was that dipstick tube. The way they had it, I ended up cheating the system. I just cut it here with a wheel, just buzzed it here so I can slip the manifold off without taking that oil filler tube out, because they never work out. You know, it's just it wasn't coming out of there, so that's the way I did it. And then when I put everything back together, I just welded that little tab back to the filler tube here. So, but even the passenger side is easy to get to. The reason I had to do this is because the EGR valve the tube needed to be replaced, but those bolts wouldn't come out of there, so I had to get a whole new manifold. But so the passenger side is a little bit more trickier, but still you can get to everything. The bolts still look like they're doing fine. Again, they're 2 years old, but everything rusts here so quick. So anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. See you next time.